All right, so if you're struggling to get clients right now, it's not because demand is low. It's because your current offer has been built to fail. Now, the reason I know this is because I built my offer in the exact same way. And if your current offer relies on inconsistent outreach, an unpredictable methodology of getting results, and ultimately your time to deliver, it's always going to feel like a grind, okay, no matter how much money you are making. Now, ultimately, you don't have a client acquisition problem, you have a business structure problem. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what is broken and the shift that fixes it so that clients come in on repeat and you can make projected consistent cash flow in your business. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so what we're going to go through step by step is ultimately the real reason that your client flow keeps dying, even when you're doing everything technically right. We're also going to look at the hidden trap in your current existing model. We're going to dissect your existing offer that's basically keeping you overworked, underpaid, and stuck doing what you're doing and hating it. And then we're going to show you the shift that I went through that's going to help you turn your current offer into a system that actually brings in clients and cash on repeat where you can achieve infinite scale. Okay, so I'm going to demystify the journey that a lot of people online go through from being that online service provider, you know, running a marketing agency or whatever it might be, to actually getting into a position where they can sell their infrastructures and digital builds up front for a significant fee. Okay, now the way that I want to do this and the way that I want to frame this video is just racing through very quickly one of the recent articles that I posted on Substack. Okay, so I just read through this article again, and this is the kind of information I wish I had when I first started my business. And really the kind of inspiration for this article came from the question that some people ask, you know, I think quite rightly, which is, you know, if you're so successful doing this, why are you teaching it? And really what I wanted to do was base this article around this kind of provocative title here of why ultimately the end goal for you is to become an information seller, okay? And you will become that sooner or later. If you don't, you'll probably end up getting a full-time job and leaving this space in totality, okay? So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to race through very quickly that demystification process and really go behind the scenes, because I've been that individual that has provided a service for a number of years before even producing a single piece of content, to now being somebody who can, you know, be known for their videos, their writings, their ideas, and sell digital infrastructures upfront with extremely low risk. Okay, so ultimately what this comes down to is that the agency that you are building is unsellable. So if you've been in this space for any sort of period of time, you're going to know about the importance of SOPs and systems and automations that help you maximize profit and run your business better. Okay, but the issue here is that a lot of this advice largely comes from the traditional business and entrepreneur space, which is coming from individuals who have built companies to sell. Okay, now these are individuals that have not necessarily relied on cash flow to scale those businesses. They've relied on early seed investment to actually achieve initial scale. Okay, so this is not you. The advice that you are taking is from somebody who's running a business that is totally different to yours. And this is why it's so important to actually structure your offer and your existing service correctly. Okay, so my background, albeit short-lived, is in private equity. Now, the fund that I worked for was a North American real estate fund. And basically what they did was they found undervalued commercial and sometimes residential properties, real estate. At the time, it was light industrial units and portfolios that were providing the greatest internal rate of return. And ultimately what the company would do as asset managers was add value to those existing properties or portfolios and then sell them on for a profit. Okay, ultimately, this was what's called in real estate fancy speak an opportunistic investment fund. Okay, and what that meant was that basically, as an asset manager, it was your job to go out there and find these individual properties or these portfolios that you could add value to and then sell on for more money that you buy them for. And you do that in a number of different ways. Okay, it might be finding a commercial building that has 5 floors. Each floor has an existing business that's paying for a business rental tenancy, and your job is to go in there, restructure the leases, you know, hike the rents up, whatever it might be, get better tenants in so that the discounted cash flow numbers look better to a potential new investor. Okay, or it might be developing plans, getting planning permission. Okay, and here in the UK, it can take months, if not years, to get planning permission for development sites. And what this fund would do is, put in the hard graft and use their expertise to actually get that planning permission, not take on any of the construction or development work risk, but sell it on with those rights. And that's adding value. Okay, or in most cases, it would be finding a portfolio, refurbishing them, upgrading the carpets, upgrading the heating, electricals, refurbishing, redecorating, remarketing them, renaming them, and then finding the right buyer. Okay, so why does this context, how is this useful, and how does it relate to the agency space if you're watching this video, which you will be, and you're trying to put forth an online offer? Okay, well, whether it's selling content, SEO, meta ads, AI automation, whatever it might be. Ultimately, it comes down to this. When I started my agency, I made the decision to follow this exact strategy. Okay, I wanted to create an asset that paid me whilst building it, that I could one day sell for a massive profit, just like the properties we were buying. But the reality for an agency owner like myself, like you watching this, was devastatingly different to what I originally imagined. Okay, so ultimately what this comes down to is the fact that your agency is unsellable. You are going to work day in, day out, weeks, months, if not years, to build something to a significant monthly recurring revenue that ultimately you can't sell for a big payday in any point in the future. Okay, now ultimately, what it comes down to is that buyers of a company, they're not going to buy personality or a social media presence. Okay, they buy the following. They'll buy predictable cash flow systems, documented, repeatable processes that don't rely on you as the operator, transferable client relationships. So if you've got a body of existing clients and contracts that have been with you for a long period of time, they're going to buy that. Existing established teams, and then obviously systematic client acquisition channels that produce new clients on demand, repeatable. Okay. In the tech space, it could be proprietary technology that no one else has, right? But the reality is that you're facing in your agency right now is that you've got none of these. Okay. Your client acquisition process is unpredictable at best. You've got holes in your onboarding. You don't know how to hire people. You've got churn with clients. You've got churn with your employees, regardless whatever niche you're in. Okay, and I know this because I've been in this position, right? So currently you're operating in chaos. And if you're anything like I was at the time, you know, okay, you're struggling to wake up to actually face this business. Now, ultimately, when it comes to selling a business like this, you're always going to be an employee. Okay, so currently you are stuck in service delivery hell and you're an employee for your own company. If, positively speaking, you were able to actually sell your agency to a competitor, chances are that the clauses they're going to force you into, you're going to face earnouts. So for example, the buyer's not going to pay a dime to you or to buy the company if the company doesn't continue to actually produce a financial return. Okay, so you can't just dump a dead company off to an investor, promise them and pitch them the world, and then the company won't deliver. They've got all these back-end clauses that are going to stop you from doing that. Okay. Also, you're going to have multi-stay-on clauses, so you're going to actually have to stay on and operate that business, all of which is going to lower the payout on that you would ultimately get up front. Okay, so the payout that you deserve from years of like busting your ass, all because some investor basically has you bent over a barrel, means that your exit isn't actually an exit, it's a job change. So it's all well and good talking about how to sell a company and the problems you're going to face if you want to get an investor for your agency. But how is this actually relevant to getting clients to today in today's market? Okay, well, it comes down to this pivotal secret I learned that no one really wants to talk about. And despite not being able to really legitimately sell an agency, building my agency to sell, despite all of this, was still not a bad idea. Okay, so the fact that I built a predictable omni-channel client acquisition system that generates new clients at a cataclysmically low CAC was in fact a very good idea. Okay, the back office suite that I've developed over a number of different years to automate, fully systemize everything we do, that's not client facing, wasn't a bad idea. The way that I can onboard new employees within hours, have them fully trained, have their accesses set up all in an automatic fashion was not a bad idea. And the fact that I productized my offer, which we're going to talk about in a moment here, again, was not a bad idea. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why. And this is really the the pivotal point of this video that I want you to take home, all right? So instead of selling the company once, instead of building it and then praying for a payout and a payday, you know, in the future, which I've just explained is basically not possible with an agency. Of course, there are exceptions, but for your lifestyle business that you've built today, the reason you're watching this video to try and scale that, you're not going to be able to sell it in the future. However, you will be able to sell it over and over again. And I want to show you exactly how we do this. Okay, so we're going to jump over to the whiteboard. I'm going to grab my pen here, and I'm going to show you first what it looks like to operate the agency that you are. Okay, so every single month goes by, month 1, month 2, month 3. You need more clients, you need more results, and with all the results and all the clients you're getting, you need a bigger team. Okay, so it's very, very hard to scale using this model. And it's why almost all the most successful online creators do not provide a service like this anymore. They might get their start in the industry through an offer like this, but there's a reason that they transform what they're doing. Okay, and I'm going to show you how they do it in a moment here. So the way that they do that is instead of selling a service, they start to sell an infrastructure. Now, an infrastructure is basically, in my case, is a way of productizing your service so that it takes you out of the business. And it means that you can, in essence, sell and license your business, your digital infrastructure, the things that you actually build time and time again without adding any more operational load to your day-to-day. Okay, so with this model here, with the traditional sort of brick and mortar marketing model, every new client that you get, so more clients equals more stress, whether that's mentally, on your time, on your money, your resources, operational load. Okay, and if you're anything like me, when I was at that point in my journey, it got to the point where I had negatively conditioned myself to acquire new clients. I just simply didn't. Once you start achieving and earning a certain amount of money, money no longer becomes the motivator. Okay, and you won't be interested in taking on more annoying clients just for some more cash. All right, and this is why the infrastructure play is so paramount if you are looking for any sort of longevity in this industry. Okay, now I really, got some immediate success with this from one of my most popular videos that is linked on the Substack article here. Okay, and people were basically intrigued by how I made that pivot from a chaotic, commoditized agency owner, basically trying to sell and pitch the same thing that everybody else was selling, to selling infrastructures for a significant upfront fee. And if you want to learn more about the nuts and bolts at a more sort of granular level on how I did this, I urge you to go over to this article, read through it in totality. If you've got the attention span to do so, I promise you by the end of the article, you're going to have some tools in your arsenal that everybody else who's addicted to doom scrolling and is fully cooked by short form content isn't going to actually have at their disposal. Okay, so looping this back to our original intention in this video, ultimately what you need to do is change the model. And this is why you see people making content. This is why I make content today. The videos that you are watching now enable me to develop relationships and have conversations with people like yourself who don't have an infrastructure, and don't have the time or knowledge to build an infrastructure, but they want to cut the learning curve. Okay, and this is what I advise when you go the infrastructure pathway and this route, right? You either build it, you do what I did, and you take 5 to 7 years to actually iterate on all of your processes, learn the hard way, multiple times, almost go out of business, only to succeed and then develop a model like this. Or if you don't have that time, you don't have the money to invest in that, which, if you've got a full-time job or you've got a freelancing business or you don't have 5 to 7 years in savings saved up, you're going to actually have to buy your way into this model. You're going to have to buy an existing infrastructure. Okay, now this is why I don't feel guilty with what we do, because my origin story is that I developed a successful e-com email marketing agency. I then productized and pivoted my offer so that it took me out of service delivery. And when I started making these incredibly low budget, zero edited videos about processes on YouTube, people like yourself started to send me DMs and emails saying how could they get their hands on the same infrastructure. So it was a very natural progression for me. And again, it enables me to achieve unlimited scale. When we're selling an infrastructure for 6K upfront, all it takes is a client here or there, every single week, every month, or a client a day to make absolutely life-changing money. All right. So if you understood the premise of this video, if you drew down the key points, I urge you to go over to this Substack article, read through Read through the whole thing. It shows you the exact blueprint. I'll link it in the description below, and let me know if you've got any comments or questions. I'll be more than happy to help you out. All right, see you in the next one. Cheers.